Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a brand new episode of In the Mixer. Sorry, it's a bit late, but better late than never, as is the phrase. I'm here with the two usuals, the three musketeers. I, of course, am Phil. We got Michael and Elias here. Hi, guys.
Hello.
It's been a
Hi
while
guys.
it's been a while, Michael, since we've heard your voice.
Has it?
Well, you weren't here last week on the podcast.
Was I not?
No, no. Well, that's how
I,
fast your
I,
days are going.
I
Such a busy
genuinely,
schedule.
I genuinely, wait,
Wait,
I
no, that's
genuinely,
wrong. No, that's wrong, isn't it?
Yeah, it was you that
It was
wasn't
me.
on the
No,
podcast.
wait,
no, it
what?
was no, because obviously you weren't here yesterday. So for some reason in my head I thought that was last week.
Nice.
But we'll
Well, I'm
soldier
here
on.
now.
We'll
I'm
soldier
still
on.
here now, so that's all that matters, right?
Yeah, sure. You are here now. It's good. It's important. How have your guys' weeks gone? Or recent days? You've been hitting up life with both hands.
Busy, but good.
Busy but good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Busy Christmas period, you know.
I
Got to
did
get the
a
family sorted before the football commences.
soccer. Yeah, get all that. I did a football quiz the other day.
Okay.
One of those ones, and it was about the most prolific free kick scorers of the last 10 years in the Premier League. The top one out of 11. It was Seb Larsson. How
Oh,
mad is that? He scored the most Premier League free kicks in the last 10 years. He doesn't even play in the Premier League anymore.
he
He
probably
plays for
deserves to.
he
He
plays
does.
for Hull, I think, and Sweden. He'll be at the World Cup, won't he, Elias? Eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
hardworking centre mid we got.
Well, at his age,
No,
everything's hard at
no,
his
in
age.
general,
In general, bring back Kim Kelstrom. That's what I say. Get him in there.
no.
What about? Do you have like a Rooney equivalent in Sweden that you can play a deeper role?
Zlatan. Oh.
Bring him back and bring Zlatan back and play him in centre midfield. That'll work. I'm sure that'll work. Anyway, we should probably talk about some Premier League football. Where did you want to start? It's been a raucous amount of games, really. The games left, right, and centre at the moment because of the busy festive period. The winter always gets a bit hectic around now. We're going to be talking about the most recent games, the weekend games. I think best place to start is Manchester City Tottenham Hotspur. What do you think? 4-1 to the hosts. 4-1. Reflective
Yeah.
of the result. Like, do you think this was a 4-1 game? Do you
Yeah.
think City really smashed
think it was
Spurs that much?
Yeah,
think it
it
was
could
a
have been
4-0 game.
more. It could have been more, and yeah, right. Like it wasn't much of Spurs in it, bar a couple of opportunities.
Hmm. But they weren't out of the. I'm saying like I don't know. They put more than. Well, I can't really say they put a more of a fight because like teams like Southampton have put more than a fight than Spurs, I suppose.
I think it was more Spurs stayed in the game longer than they should have done. Like
Yeah.
they were still in the game, even like till like even after Jesus missed the penalty, you could still say that Spurs had a chance.
Hmm.
But when City could have been well out of sight, which I think is probably like the best way of saying best compliment towards Tottenham.
Yeah. True. True. Um, they'll definitely be frustrated with the way they let that first goal go in, that Gundogan header. I know you want to talk a bit about this, Michael, because you you are not happy with Tottenham's defending from set pieces.
No, it seems to be always like a thing that I've sort of casually highlighted it, but it's becoming really consistent. It
Hmm.
just seems to lack. They seem to not track movement, and it seems to lack any sort of command. And I'm not sure where that should be coming from. Like I'm not sure how Tottenham practice it. It just seems like there always seems to be players free, and there's one particular culprit seems to be Eric Dyer, and it's like it's not just on this occasion from that set piece. For the last goal, he's to blame as well. And just in general, he had a really poor game, and it's looking worrying going towards the World Cup that this man is the man that's first name on the team sheet for England because I,
Well, he's
I
not going to be
don't.
playing centre back. He's not going to be playing centre back for England.
No, but it's just. And do you think that it is him just playing out of position at Spurs, or do you
Yeah, I
think
think centre back is definitely him out of position now, and it's like it shows kind of, how
'cause
much they're
it's
missing Alderweireld and Sanchez isn't playing at the moment.
yeah, because it showed in that game while City are obviously brilliant, the Spurs struggled at the back
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
massively. City
Yeah.
created a lot of chances, more chances than they have created recently in recent Premier League games, bar the Swansea result.
I think Spurs have had the highest amount of possession against City than any other team. So, in many ways, they have won the league.
If that's how you want to go by, then sure.
Average possession against City instead of Premier League points won. I think that is the way we decide the title. But yeah, Spurs' absences have really come into focus with the likes of Alderweireld being out. I also want to mention Wanyama, who hasn't played a lot this season, who's been a big miss. When you look at the midfield, like Winks and Dembele didn't really give anything in that game, and Wanyama has certainly been a miss there. What do you? I saw Chris Sutton say Tottenham are a one-man team this weekend. Wasn't actually sure who he was talking about specifically.
Which kind of undermines his whole argument.
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like there's obviously, you can say Alderweireld missing, it shows how important he is. Ali's been off form, Eriksen's brilliant, Kane's brilliant, so I don't know where that comes from, but certainly not a one-man team at this point anyway. Manchester City, Elias. But there is one man who is who's pulling the strings. We criticised him a bit last week, but Kevin De Bruyne, lovely goal, and another brilliant performance by the Belgian.
Yeah, he's playing well and deservedly so. He's working hard. He's been working hard for quite a few seasons now and deserves to be where he is at. And you can't really criticize him too much. Of course, you can see him have off games like last week, but he's still a world-class player. So
it wasn't a bad way to react to almost getting your ankle snapped in half by Dele Alli, was it? Really, just going up the other end and scoring straight away. I think it was 2 minutes after that challenge, and I think that and the Kane one, definite red cards. I think they were just shows of players that were frustrated and really awful challenges.
It just had it just brought back memories of the Chelsea game last season. Was it last season or season before?
Yeah, Battle of the Bridge.
The Battle of the Bridge. They're all kind of like that, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
But no, I think the one that frustrated me was the Ali one. The Kane one, I feel like, it's a shocking challenge. It's kind of a bit like strikers, like, I don't know, can't tackle almost. But
like
Ali's
Peter
one...
Crouch against Inter Milan kind of challenge.
Inter Milan? What are you on about? Real Madrid.
Real Madrid, sorry.
Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. What a lanky man. The Ali one is like one of those, like, it's so cowardly in the fact that he's willing to harm a opposition player just because he doesn't want to commit to the challenge. Like he'll just put instead of, you know what I mean? Yeah. I just hate those tackles because they're just cowardly and dangerous.
It really is.
Otamendi could have gone though.
It's like losers mentality, isn't it? It's like the bullies at school.
He's a loser.
I know it sounds weird, but it really is. It's like, well, I'm not going to beat him, so I'll hurt him, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it does kind of sum up Ali's season, I think, as well a little bit. But Otamendi could have gone in the first half for a high boot. What do we think? I think that's a bit clutching at straws because it wasn't really studs, but it certainly was a high foot, Elias. What do you think?
Yeah, like there's been so many situations this season with like high boots, so I really don't know what to think anymore. I don't think the ruling is very clear, and it probably should be clearer. Like how it is. It just causes so much controversy every time you see something like this, because you'll always have both sides, because the referee can't really like justify any of the calls they make, because if they send him off, then you can argue that every high boot should be a sending off, but like he did now, he didn't send him off, then you'll obviously have people that are arguing that he should have been sent off, and we need like clearer rules on why high boots are that dangerous. So it's just such a tough situation for both the referees and both for the players.
Yeah, you're definitely right with that one. Manchester City then, top of the league still by, what is it, 11 points is it? Something ridiculous. 11 points, top of the league, one more game until the halfway stage. They will be top at Christmas. I don't think that's in any doubt, unless they somehow end up in administration twice.
Financial fair play?
Financial fair play, which doesn't actually affect the Premier League, I don't think. I think it's just Europe. But I don't know the rules. I'm just making them up.
They get fined in the Premier League, I think.
They get found out is what they'll get. I tell you, it's not over, this title race.
Didn't like 6 clubs break it last season though?
In what, the Premier League?
Yeah.
Yeah, but but it's probably teams that aren't in the Champions League.
Yeah, but no, it's the Premier League punishment. I'm pretty sure is only a fine for based on wages. You know, for the wage cap thing. It's
Yeah.
it's a
It's-
fine of how much you are over by.
But
Oh, is it a £384 pound fine that Lukaku got for bringing the police to his apartment and shouting at them? Or house or whatever.
maybe they were singing Park the Bus, Man United" at him, joining in with all the City players and the City fans. They were ironically I saw they were ironically singing that against West Brom when they went 2-0 up. Of course, Mourinho immediately obliged, and they sat back at 2-0, had a bit of a scare at 2-1. But United back under winning ways with their 1-goal victories. Always nice to see.
Mourinho.
Louis van Gaal has decided he wants another Premier League job just to stick it to Manchester United. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, Swansea.
Would you hire him if his sole ambition? Like, imagine that on Football Manager. What are your expectations for the season? Oh, stick it to Man United. that's it. I don't know if that's a credible reason to get a job in the Premier League. Do you think that's why Moyes went to West Ham?
Yes.
He should get his revenge.
That's what you've made a mistake. Look what I'm doing here. Tearing teams up 3-0. Oh, Mark Hughes. Dear oh dear, what's going on there? Let's go to that game actually, because I want to talk about Marko Arnautovic and his emotional return to the Bet365 stadium. I would go to Elias here because you like Marko Arnautovic when he's on form. I think. I think you've said things about Marko Arnautovic before, so I want to. Yeah. What did you think of his performance, and two, his reaction to the Stoke fans and Mark Hughes?
I'm sorry, I didn't see the first half because it was postponed because of an electrical issue. But the second half, like, it's a frustrating player to watch. That is just Marko Arnautovic. Like, even if he's good, he's still frustrating to watch because you can see he can do so much more things better than he actually is doing. But he's clearly like showing that he wants to play, and that is a plus for Marko Arnautovic because that is usually not how he acts on the pitch at all. But there's so much like wasted potential. Like, he could really be the Austrian Zlatan if he wanted to, but he just hasn't got the motivation.
What a nickname.
Yeah, but it literally is like Zlatan. Like,
I think it's more like the Austrian Bentner.
Oh yeah,
I think so, with that hair.
Yeah,
but, yeah, he did miss a couple of chances, didn't he? And he did get a lot of stick for that, Michael. And I think that's probably what preempted him for his reaction.
I feel like Arnautovic is one of those players on FIFA that's so bad that they're just so unpredictable. They're actually really good. Like, that's how I'd like. He's like clunky, but he just every so often it just comes out flowing and beautiful, and nobody really expects it or knows what to do about it. And that's kind of how I'd define him.
There's a goal against Chelsea. Is his class there?
Exactly.
No,
that's
ability
what I mean.
there. It's just his attitude that's always been questioned.
Yeah.
And I think he showed himself up. He did, of course, when he did score, he gave it to the Stoke fans. Did the old iron cross to the fans, and when he got substituted as well, Mark Hughes had some words to say. That was quite interesting. I thought I quite liked it, to be honest. I don't know. What did you guys think? Do you think it was a bit much, or do you think it was quite funny? Because we had to go about Andre Gray the other week, but this was almost justified. I don't know.
I don't mind it. I feel like if the fans give you stick and whatever, like, there's no reason for you to give it back. Like, I'd have been more disappointed if he'd have held his hands up and not celebrated.
Oh yeah.
I'd have been really disappointed. So yeah, by all means, give it back.
Yeah, certainly a good performance for him, and he could be spurring West Ham onto something great in terms of safety. David Moyes has said he could manage any club in the world, pretty much, is kind of his quote. Would you like to spend the rest of this part one listing off the names of teams he can't or probably couldn't manage successfully?
Let's make it a round. Let's just go for one each.
One each.
Phil, you can start.
Okay, Boca Juniors. There you go, that's mine. Move on. Do you want me to explain why, or?
No, it's fine.
No, excellent. I think that's good. Okay, Boca Juniors is mine. Move on.
Scotland.
Can anybody manage that? a club, that
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness me. What about you, Michael?
AFC Wimbledon.
AFC. I thought you were going to say Birmingham. I thought that would have been more apt.
Yeah.
One David to another. The Moyes sire. But the old English boys, the British boys, I should say, in the case of Moyes, are doing it. Apart from Mark Hughes, who I thought might have been out of a job by the time we hit this podcast, but apparently
That's when we
not.
delayed it, wasn't it?
I think that's you waited for that news. This is our last podcast before Christmas, so hey, this maybe that'll be the Christmas
Be
gift to
impressive.
Stoke. Would be Mark Hughes
It's like
joining out.
I feel like I'm with Stoke fans though. I feel for them because it's got to the point where I've turned the notifications on Birmingham's Twitter, hoping for the tweet of Steve Cottrell getting sacked, and the media team know it because today they tweeted, "Cottrell departs. David Cottrell's contract has been terminated." It's just they know exactly what everyone's waiting for. So I feel Stoke fans are probably on the similar level for that.
Yeah.
Mark Hughes does post-match interview. Oh.
Oh goodness! Well, that's it. I think that's the end of part 1, guys. Yeah, we'll be back with part 2. We'll talk some more Premier League and other shenanigans. So we'll see you in a bit. Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the show. If you could leave a comment or a review on iTunes, that would be great. And also subscribe on every podcast platform that you listen to this on. That would be appreciated. Of course, this podcast does end up on YouTube eventually, but it's up on all podcast platforms and feeds much earlier. So subscribe on those to get the podcast as soon as possible. Thank you so much and enjoy the next part of the show. Hi, welcome back to part 2. We are going to talk about the current shapings of the relegation zone and what's going on down there. And only one place to start. Roy Hodgson's Crystal Palace dispatching former Premier League champions Leicester City 3-0. Claude Puel. Is the honeymoon over, Elias?
No.
I love the blunt nose every time. Just no.
Yeah. It's just what I think. It doesn't
Care
need to be
to elaborate?
really. Not really, but I just feel like it's just a slight misstep. It was just really. I just felt like it was super unlucky the whole game. Like, of course, if you lose 3-0, there will be other factors as well. But I don't think it was justified. The 3-0. They weren't great, but they weren't bad either.
It was a more even game than kind of the score suggests. I see what you're
Yeah.
saying. And Palace definitely took the
Exactly,
chances. Indeed, he managed to get himself sent off for diving.
Indeed, he did.
Indeed, he did. Indeed, he did. Yeah, that was a weird one. Was it a red card? A second yellow?
I was
I
going
think
to
it
actually
was.
talk about that and Martin Atkinson. I thought Martin Atkinson probably had the best refereeing game he's probably going to have of his career because I think he got everything right. He had
Of his career?
Yeah. He
The
had
3-0 Crystal Palace win.
Yeah, but obviously it's not a proud one. But he disallowed.
What were the best moments of your career, Martin Atkinson? Well, you can talk about the Manchester United,
As
the
in
Arsenal, but that's like
performance-wise-
Leicester 0, Crystal Palace 3.
Performance-wise, I can't. Who was the disallowed goal? I think it was a goal disallowed for a push. I think it was a ball.
It was a Bora, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh,
And it was a push. Yeah. Got that right, and then the Ndidi one was a tough dive to spot, but it was a dive, it was complete simulation, and he got it right. He had I thought he had a brilliant game.
No, fair enough. I think Mark Clattenburg would have let that goal stood. You know,
Probably.
because he would have been like, well, if Palace go down, they can't blame it on me then.
Exactly.
Like,
You should
if
play a numbers
I
game.
chalk that goal off, everyone's like, oh, Clattenburg kept Palace up. But anyway, what
Still
a
bitter,
twat.
Phil.
No, he's just an arsehole. It really is. Christian Benteke scored. So it's kind of got rid of that, the penalty incident.
Put his fingers in his ears.
Put his fingers in his ears, there's a celebration. I'm not sure why. Blocking out the haters, I assume.
Yeah, something like that. Can't hear you.
Can't hear you, yeah. So, yeah. So, will he be on penalty duty
mind
now
you-
he scored a header?
Mind you, Danny Simpson can pretty much be accredited the assist for that goal.
Well, he is marking 2 men, isn't he, I think? Which is unfortunate.
Maybe that's the case, but if Benteke didn't score that, I think he'd have more than his ears to have to pluck his fingers out on.
Maybe Leicester should think about signing Eric Dyer at centre half. That would solve their. Maybe if they're going for the 2-on-1 marking strategy, that seems like the one that he would fit in
Just
quite
on his
nicely.
CV. 2-1 marking. Let me tell you about it. My name's Eric.
I have a unique set of skills. I cannot mark 2 players at once. I'll fit in perfectly here, alongside Wes Morgan, post 2006. Yeah, so that's Leicester's defence covered. Wilfred Zaha. Bloody hell, he's good. Hey?
Is he going to City?
City? Whoa, that's a big shout.
40 million apparently.
Raheem Sterling's natural
in
replacement.
January. Apparently they want to pay 40 million in January.
I think the attitude from Wilfred Zaha, like in interviews and stuff, I think he'll give it to the end of the season. I think he feels like he owes Palace a full this whole season, get him out of trouble, and then they can leave on good terms. I think that would be
Seems like a great bloke.
He's a lovely guy with great dreadlocks. So. Yeah.
Except he signed for Manchester United.
What's wrong with signing for Manchester United? A lot of players have done that through the years.
Yeah.
Quite a few, including
all
Eric
wrong.
Jemba and Cleberson.
They're all wrong. That's what I'm saying.
Zlatan?
Yeah, he's also wrong. He should have gone to AIK.
Wayne Rooney
Okay.
should have
Yeah.
stayed at Everton. He's got a better goal scoring record there than he had at Man United now.
Exactly.
He's a natural striker.
Victor Lindelof.
That was the worst move I've ever. Like,
All his mistakes are just now in the limelight.
They're all there. They're
Yeah.
all there.
just nobody wants to bring it up because it's Manchester United. They'll probably get like killed.
Oh God. Okay. Jesus. That was out of nowhere. Have we gotten from Crystal Palace to I don't know, Manchester United death threats? I guess we'll move on. I don't know how to transition from that. Bournemouth got smashed 4-0. Are they in a relegation dogfight? Because they are definitely struggling this season, and they're kind of treading water almost, aren't they? And they seem to be...
Say they're 6 feet under.
Well, not... Oh, dear.
Hey, woo!
Let's try and move away from that. Try and move away from the death. Move back to the football.
Well, they're on the brink of. Okay, it's yeah. Bournemouth.
Born again, Muff. No.
No, really.
No, not really. No, they're a shell of themselves this season. I think it's fair to say.
They're boring.
Boring. I don't think they're one of the worst 3 teams in the league, though.
I think West Brom are probably more boring.
Yeah, and Alan Pardew. Even he can't brighten that place up.
Yeah.
He's got all sorts
Alan
of dance
Pardew
moves.
can dance.
He can dance if he wants to. He can leave his friends behind.
Can he jive?
Why are we talking about Alan Pardew dancing? We're meant to be talking about Bournemouth.
Alright, I'll rate it in. Bournemouth have City next game, but after that have West Ham, Everton, Brighton. Yeah, and that's the next 5 games. That's a good opportunity to show that they're not relegation candidates.
They do have Chelsea tomorrow night in the cup as well, so that could be interesting. But City, they gave City a decent game earlier in the season, if you remember. Charlie Daniels with that absolute worldie,
Oh yeah.
and it was that Raheem
The only-
Sterling
yeah.
lucky 80, 70, no,
Yeah, it was
97th minute winner, wasn't it, or something like that? Sorry, Michael, go
The
on.
only,
Is it 97th minute? Did you say?
Yeah, because it was 2 minutes after the added time. I remember.
Yeah.
Because I'd got home from work and it was somehow still on. I was really confused.
Okay.
But yeah. So we'll see.
Maybe so then.
Maybe could hold a bit of a surprise in store. Maybe unlikely, but could happen. Liverpool going well though. 4-0. Dejan Lovren getting a goal, which is nice. Doing something right. Good lad. Mohamed Salah scoring again. I don't know if you saw his goal. What did you think? Shocking defending or a nice little cut inside dribble?
I saw a good tweet, basically comparing Mohamed Salah to Arjen Robben, because you know what he's gonna do. He doesn't really ever go on his right foot. Like he scores with his left, like pretty much every goal, but you can't really stop him. So it's like prime Arjen Robben at this point.
Yeah. No, good point. Very good point. I quite like him too because he's quite almost simplistic as a player. If that
He seems humble. He seems like a good guy as well, and I like that in footballers.
Didn't make it at Chelsea though. Maybe he was too nice for that club.
Probably.
We'll move on.
Whoa!
Speaking of being too nice, Big Sam, 3-1 to Everton. Wayne Rooney missed a penalty, but then scored a penalty. So fantasy football players everywhere were happy to get that levelled out. Everton really, really showing what they can do now, and almost guaranteed 7th spot this season. But they have to.
Spurs.
That's where Spurs are currently, and of course, if Spurs go up there, then I mean, yeah, maybe Spurs could finish outside the top 7 because of course they got title chasing Burnley in front of them as well at the moment. Yeah, so I mean, Everton 3-1 on good form since Big Sam has turned up. I think there was a quote somewhere saying, like he said they've won their last 3 games or something, and I think he said something along the lines of, "Oh, we would have won none of our last 4 games if I wasn't here," or something like that. So always humble. Swansea rock bottom. If they don't win the next game, they'll be bottom at Christmas, and that usually spells disaster. They really don't show anything, do they? They're really drab. They don't offer really anything. It's really worrying for them.
When they do, though, it's like it just goes the opposite way so quickly.
They showed that they actually could score for once, though.
For once. Good.
Yeah, way.
If only... No, I'm not even going to try.
No.
I'm not even going to try. Their performances are pretty Nathan Dyer at the moment. But yeah. Aha! Works. They need a win, or they won't be singing those Christmas carols. I'm just on their current lineup, to be honest.
Alright, this is just Tammy puns. No,
Yeah, it's pretty bad. We do need a winter break, though, in all seriousness. So the Swansea players can go Fabian skiing. Okay, that's the serious Swansea chat out of the way. They're going to go down this season, aren't they? I don't think there's anything...
Yeah.
what can save them, apart from Wilfred Boney rolling back the years, becoming one of the world's best young players? God.
Renato Sanchez given another chance. Please, manager, give me another chance.
Paul Clement, just play him up front with an advertising hoarding and watch the magic happen. That's what I say. That is what I say. Worrying for them. Newcastle down there, of course. Lost 1-0 to Arsenal. Mezzo's just scored a nice goal. What do we think of their chances? They keep coming up. They keep coming up because they're right down there. And them and Stoke are falling down the table really fast. I think as soon as Stoke drop in the bottom 3, Hughes is probably gone, in the same way Bilic did at West Ham. But Newcastle probably won't sack their manager because it's Benitez. I mean, what's going to happen there? It's an intriguing one, isn't it? With Newcastle,
it's a weird one because, of course, with the new, if there's going to be a new owner after the new year, we'll see if Benitez gets any kind of money to work with, if he's even in charge by then. I just really want that thing to be over, the owner
Ashley thing,
the Mike Ashley thing, because I just want him out of the Premier League and just never see him again. Disgust me.
God. As soon as he leaves Newcastle, though, you know what's going to happen? The Premier League's going to be sponsored by Sports Direct in a couple of years, and it'll just be his face as the logo with the crown on, like the lion. Oh God.
Yeah, instead of UK number 1, he'll change to Premier League number 1, and that's it.
Exactly.
My life will be over.
Sports Direct Cup, Carabao Cup.
Yep. Oh. Get them all. Get all of them. The Sports Direct FA Cup. Goodness me. European Champions League, sponsored by Sports Direct. I can see it happening. Don't know about you. I mean, that could even happen by part 3, because the amount of time between parts, ladies and gentlemen, is long. I can tell you, it's a good couple of hours. So we're going to end part 2 right here. We're going to come back with some goodies, including the In the Mixer 11 selection. So we will be back in a bit.
Hey, guess what? The In the Mixer show now has a new YouTube channel where you can subscribe to listen to our podcast weekly, as well as access exclusive content such as outtakes, previews, and us getting lost in Moscow. Bye!
Hello and welcome back to part 3 of the In the Mixer podcast. For some reason these guys keep laughing whenever I restart the part.
Because you're doing weird noises.
What, talking? That's just my accent.
Yeah.
It's from Essex.
You're,
Forgive him.
you're going to have to explain to these listeners why this has taken so long to get to this part 3. I'm sorry. There's going to be a lot of outtakes just because of these two. If I can be bothered to edit them, because we're quite late.
We're funny guys. What can we say?
We're funny guys, haha. To quote Elias, I love the outtakes. Part 3 then, what are we talking about? Well, we wanted to talk about Celtic, but we forgot. But we can too, because they lost 4-0 to Hearts. That's quite funny, considering they were on a 69-game unbeaten run. I was about to say winning streak then. I was going to say winning streak. That's extreme, but hey.
In all competitions.
Keeping the Scottish League interesting. Am I right?
Yeah.
Because they probably won't win it this year, Celtic, I don't think. What do you think? Well, they've got to focus on the Europa League, so I doubt they'll.
Oh yeah.
Because they're such a threat on the
Champions League.
They're such a threat on the European stage. Poor old Celtic. You'll get there, guys. That 70's just around the corner. Just go again. Oh yeah. So that's the Scottish League covered. Any other things we want to talk about before we get in the mix of fullbacks? Fullbacks include left and right backs. Anything from around Europe? Anything?
No, we can talk about Marcus Alonso's amazing free kick.
We could do that, but Chelsea went in the running order. They weren't meant to be last week, but you managed to squeeze them in. Go on, yeah, fine. Talk about the free kick.
It's beautiful. People are saying like Fraser Forster should do better, but it's a beautiful free kick. It's great. It reminded me of a Luis Suarez free kick for Liverpool, just around the wall, low, and amazing.
Well,
that's all I'm gonna say.
Nice. Are you glad?
See, if you haven't seen it, see it.
Well, there you go. See, the man has spoken. The man who hates Marcus Alonso has decided to make you watch him. So there you go.
He never misses free kicks. Like he always gets them on target. I'm not even kidding.
We said this from the Spurs game, right? His last free kick was against Spurs, and he hasn't scored since then. So has he just not been on free kicks?
He doesn't I'm not saying he scores every free kick he takes. He just never misses the target. It's ridiculous how accurate he is with his left foot, which is really weird. Being that good on a dead ball situation, but being absolutely crap with his crossing foot.
Only Marcus Alonso can ask. You can. Yeah, he's the only one who knows. You know what? I forgot to mention. Kaka retired. We were going to talk a bit about Kaka, but we forgot to prepare that because I forgot to tell the guys that we might talk about that. So, quick sentence to sum up Kaka's career, Elias, or a few words.
Ballon d'Or. One of the most interesting, one of the most entertaining football to watch when he was at his peak. Really made the Serie A what it used to be back in 10 years ago. And yeah, that AC Milan team that he was such a big part of was just really a joy to watch, and he was one of the main figures in that. And thank you for everything you've done for football, Kaka, if you're listening. We can always hope. But yeah, you really brought light into football and really entertained us. Thank you.
That was lovely. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Michael, but I think we should probably just leave that there. That was beautiful.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's very nice. I saw a nice little quote actually. So someone saying he was the last human to win the Ballon d'Or. It's obviously Messi and Ronaldo are so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Pele called him the complete player, didn't he? So I guess that's a pretty
high praise indeed.
Pele.
High praise indeed.
I don't take what Pele says nowadays.
Or ever. Good with his feet,
Yeah.
not with his mouth, particularly. Well,
Exactly.
Mrs. Pele may differ, but we will move on. We'll move on from that crude
PG-13.
PG-13. You know what wasn't PG-13? The things Milan fans were shouting at Donnarumma. Apparently his agent has asked to to take back the contract renewal he signed. So his contract will end at the end of the season. I'm not sure how that's going. But Milan fans holding up a banner in their last game. I can't remember who it was against, but saying, "Get out, Donnarumma," basically. And if he does get out, he'll have a lot of suitors after him, I imagine. Probably including Chelsea
Real Madrid.
if Courtois is said to be leaving.
Spurs should get him. Luis is rubbish.
I agree, so that's fine.
Wow. I Lurie,
Mm,
which is disagree in French.
no, that's good. Thanks. That's good.
It's good. It's good. Okay. So should we talk about this in the mixer? In the mixer 11, as we have our
Yes.
centre backs have been set with an astounding poll result. Nemanja Matic. Oh God, no, Nemanja Vidic is in the team along with Alessandro Nesta. Nemanja Matic isn't, although he may be holding that spot between the front two. We don't, the back two. We don't know. We don't know yet. We'll get to that soon. But we're going to go full backs. We're going to do the left and right backs because we are going with a traditional back four because we have not moved on with the game's tactics. We're very much set in the past and set in our ways. Right, so how are we going to do this, guys? We're going to talk left backs first, right backs first, or just go in with our favourites, best to worst, or
Well, we'll read left to right, so let's do left back first.
left back? Okay. Who wants to go first with left back? Because I have.
Phil.
Who's got the most? I've got two. Has anyone got more than two? I'm going
No.
to be listing.
I've got two.
Okay, well, I'll go for. We'll zigzag. We'll zigzag. Okay, so my first pick is a left back who played a lot of his time at centre back as well, but I put him in as a left back basically because I forgot about him when talking about the centre backs. So I thought I'd get him in here, squeeze him in. A player that has been sort of set back with off-field illnesses and like certain liver disease and things he had, which was very unfortunate. Almost, I don't know if it brought his career to an early end, but certainly slowed down his like ability, and it definitely marred the latter stage of his stages of his career. That player is Eric Abidal, and he won a lot of a lot of plaudits as a player. Was a fantastic defender. Played for France, played for Barcelona. Barcelona is really where he made his name as a top quality, like a world class defensive like left back and centre back. He wasn't really known for his attacking play. He scored literally 0 goals throughout his career at club level and international level, which is quite something. But certainly his defensive play and how he read the game was absolutely brilliant. And Barcelona, they've almost had a good track record with French defenders. Certainly in recent years, with like Umtiti and Matteo also in there as well. He wasn't very good.
Not sure if he's going to be.
but certainly they've had that sort of link there. Which was Thuram there as well, living in Thuram. So I think. Maybe, but yeah. So Abidal's certainly just a player that for Barcelona, like he really, I don't know what it is about him. It's just the sort of the fact that he had this awful thing happen to him made him almost human to me, and I think that's why he's so appealing. And the fact that he's a fantastic defender as well and has won a lot of things, I think sets him up, sets a pretty good bar in the early stages of this in the mixer left back discussion. And right back discussions we'll come to. But yeah, Eric Abidal was my first pick. And yeah, I think it's a pretty good place to start.
I think I'll go with initially. I think I'm going to go with probably my second favourite player, and that is Seo Kolasinac. And it's a bit of a weird one, I feel, because it's more personal than anything. He's always been sort of part of the little bit of like a Schalke clique, which you could associate with the like the Schalke young players that have come through from the academy. There seemed to be like a generation that seemed to come through as one that were incredible, like with the likes of Draxler, Meyer, and Ralph Ehrman and Neuer, and all players like that. And for me, it was like the most honest one and the most hard-working one. He's always been patient, trying to get his opportunity in the first team for Schalke, but at the same time, always worked incredibly hard. And I think it's now being rewarded in that he's at Arsenal. There's no bitter taste like for Schalke at all with him leaving, and he's been shown his quality in the Premier League. Like he's incredibly strong. He's so committed, and like the background that he comes from, being involved in like civil wars in Eastern Europe, and like his father just being an honest factory worker. At Mercedes, and he managed to get his son a trial. It's like it's such an honest upbringing, and it's like he really worked for it with his talent, and now for me is like I think he's a really top fullback. So while he's definitely not a legend in any way, or it is not breaking any records apart from one, which is he has the quickest own goal ever at international level. he's just like he's an amazing like person, like role model for me, and it's still great to see him posting on social media on. Say if Arsenal play on a Saturday, on Sunday you'll see him posting a picture of Draxler because they'll go and he'll go and see him or something like that, and it's just like good to see that he seems like a nice guy, and an honest guy and a really hard-working guy. So I think he gets in my left back position.
If someone gets in the mixer 11 who is younger than me, I'm gonna be irate. I'm actually gonna be irate. I think that says more about my insecurity of my age than anything. Just worried. But no, very nice pick. The sentimental ones are always the nicest ones. They touch the hearts and minds of the listeners. I was genuine as well. Sounded sarcastic. Go on, Elias. You're next.
Okay, so mine is probably the most obvious one of these ones we've just brought up. And he is a Brazilian legend and a legend of the game, who is known for his amazing left foot, especially on free kicks, and that is Roberto Carlos. Roberto Carlos, for me, is one of the reasons that I started playing football. He really invented it really just made me feel like the impossible is like you can do the impossible if you just like work hard enough. And he really one of the first goals I saw from him was he scored an impossible angle goal in the Copa del Rey against Tenerife. He basically is running down pretty much the byline and somehow managed to half volley it in the top corner.
Another one.
And that goal just like I had to rewatch that goal so many times. I watched it live on TV, and I was just completely stunned at that point, because like doing something like that with a football, and especially like I of course I wasn't born in when he scored that amazing free kick in '97, but just like the things he could do with his left foot just was like such a great motivation that if you work hard enough you can actually do it yourself. So just the fact that he with his like sheer strength and just that left foot, and of course me being a really lover of amazing goals and just long shots in general, I just feel like he needed to get my left back position because of that.
Yeah, I think it would have been a shame if he didn't get a mention during this. Probably one of the world's most recognisable footballers, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely. He's one of the most famous goals ever, isn't it? That free kick.
It really
France.
is, yeah.
It's the one that always gets shown.
For good reason as well.
Definitely. It's just crazy movement. How he gets that movement on the ball. It's unreal. And of course his run up, his free kick run up as well. Oh. I mean, he does it slightly better than Zaza takes penalties. I'm going to go on to my second left back now. Kind of a similar style in the fact that he scored a lot of long range screamers, and that's certainly what I remember him for. This is going to be one for the Liverpool fans here. John Arnorisa is my backup, just because we haven't got. Oh, I suppose we do have. We have Vidic, but in terms of Premier League left backs, I don't think many are probably going to get mentioned in this episode because we like, Brazilians and Italians seem to be the ones that we favour, and Germans, of course, at this time. But John Arnorisa is certainly a player that I've seen, and he's been synonymous for me with these these screaming goals. His left foot was such a just amazing power he seemed to produce from a football. It's crazy stuff, really. And obviously, as a Liverpool legend, of course, played in the Istanbul game. I don't know if he played, but he was certainly in the squad. And yeah, it's just he scored a lot of own goals. I remember some really comical ones as well. I think there was one against Chelsea where he ran back like 50 yards and then headed it straight over his keeper, which is quite a
great
nice
diving header.
Yeah,
love that goal.
But it's very much. I remember him for his 30-35 yard thunderbolts. No other words to describe it. And I think his most famous goal, talking about, is it the free kick against Manchester United where it's laid off to him or something, and he obviously does the shirt over the head and the mouth sticking out as quite a famous, back when Manchester United Liverpool rivalries actually meant something. But yeah, he's my pick. So yeah, that's my backup. Is a John Onorisa left foot, really. So there we go. That's my backup. I guess we'll go round again. Michael, who's your second? Who are you throwing into the mixer?
Well, when we had a little discussion pre-podcast about the hours, it was sort of, we kind of revealed a little bit who we were having, but not explicitly. So it meant that I'd have to change mine if I wanted to go for somebody different. But I don't want to. I have to just say my second pick is Roberto Carlos. There's no way I have to do it.
Is this our first unanimous decision?
I just can't change it. I can't think of anyone in my mind that I'd rather go for at left back.
That's fine. It's your.
For me, it's like exactly as Elias said. It's like for a player to have such a recognisable trait, to be such an international star. He has to be it for me.
Okay, so that's two votes for Roberto Carlos. So what are we going to do here, guys? Are we going to... Technically, we have 5 options, but Roberto Carlos almost has double points. Did you want to make it a unanimous decision and put Roberto Carlos straight in there? And not take it to a vote? I feel like that's the fair thing to do.
Well, then it's settled, I think.
It's settled. Roberto Carlos, welcome to the In the Mixer 11. Okay, that's the end of part 3. We'll be back with part 4 with our right backs, and stay tuned.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at In The Mixer Show for updates about our podcast. Share your opinions in our polls, get stuck in with the latest news, and interact with us during ongoing games. As Tim Cahill very nicely put it, no money in this world could convince me to unfollow In The Mixer Show. It goes against everything I stand for, no chance. At In The Mixer Show on Twitter.
Alright, hello, welcome back to part 4. Going straight into our In The Mixer 11 then, right backs I think we're going to go in there. As a unanimous decision, left back, as Roberto Carlos enters the fray as our first choice. No one else really got a look in, to be honest. We're hoping right backs is going to be a bit more competitive. Who would like to go first? I started last time, so I'll rule us out of the first. Michael's going first. Go on, hit us, mate. Hit us.
Thank you. So mine is both sentimental and because he was an incredible player. Really epitomizes my love of German football, and it's Philipp Lahm. He has 8 titles, which is, I believe, the joint record. He owns 8 titles. Most assists as a defender. Never missed a Bundesliga game in 12 years through suspension. 516 games without being sent off. Only missed 1 game in the Champions League in 13 seasons because of having 3 bookings. Average of 168 minutes per foul, which is incredible. He's a versatile player. He's a leader. And to do all that and be one of the greatest fullbacks of all time, I think makes him one of the greatest players ever. And I know he is regarded as a legend, but I seriously think he should be considered one of the greatest players ever. Because I don't think he is at that level. And I genuinely think he's incredible. He's a footballer. He's no more. He just plays his football. And there's no drama about him. He's just a complete professional. He's a brilliant idol, I think. And so 100% from the minute we mentioned creating an 11, Philipp Lahm would have been first in mine.
Nice. Germany still trying to find his replacement at left back as well in the international level. You remember that when they kept playing him left back because they just didn't have anyone good enough?
It was like Marshall Smith. No, not there, not quite. So
it shows as well when Pep Guardiola went to Bayern and started playing him at holder midfield how good he is with the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Also as a fullback. Okay, excellent. So I guess we'll go Elias. I guess we'll go the other way around. Elias, go on. Who's your right back, man?
I'm gonna keep going with my love for the mid 2000s mid 2000s Serie A / Brazilians.
It's a very specific category you got there.
Yeah, no, I just have such a love for that Serie A period, of players, and there were so many characters, and this guy is definitely a character, both. Well, of course, on the pitch, but also off the pitch. And it's Maicon, a player that it really reminds me of Roberto Carlos, but a bigger version, and definitely more ill-tempered. So, imagine having Roberto Carlos and Maicon on both your wings. That would be such a force. If you have wingers, you'll have the attacking force, but from the back, if you have Roberto Carlos and Maicon, you have two players that can really score goals as well and put in great crosses. And Maicon for Inter Milan, he was insane for me. Like, he was so much fun to watch because he was not that conventional right back. Like, if I look at left backs, I look at attacking players. Right backs, I don't usually think of them as more attacking than the left backs. But like, Maicon was such an exception because you can argue that he wasn't very good at the back, but he really made it up with his attacking force. And the goal he scored against North Korea is kind of funny to me because I remember watching that, and 3 years later, I think, we were playing football in a friend's backyard, and he comes in a pretty similar position. Of course, our pitch is a bit smaller because it's in a backyard, and he just screams Maicon and smashes the ball so hard over the fence and hits a massive window of their neighbors. Nice. So yeah, that also brings back memories. So I feel like it's both sentimental and also an admiration of a great attacking fullback.
I just remember the period of Maicon and Dani Alves both starting for Brazil. It was crazy. That was talk about square pegs and round holes there. Gee. Who played the left back out of those two? Was it Dani Alves? I think it was, wasn't it? Or was it Maicon? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so. Dani Alves has a bit better left foot than Maicon.
Oh, absolutely crazy. Well, I guess we're going into my right back. I'm juggling here. So I've got a few right backs I like. I'm gonna go with this one as my number one because, Ledley King, big part of my childhood as a Spurs fan. So I'm a big fan of a one club man, and not necessarily a one club man, but he was at Inter Milan for over almost 20 years. Javier Zanetti. Currently there's a vice president. The number 4 shirt has been retired in his honour. Although I think in Italy they retire shirts a lot and then they end up coming back, I think. But Javier Zanetti, fantastic player, excellent for Argentina, and he was the Internazionale captain for 13 years as well. Played over 600 games for Inter Milan. 600 games in Serie A. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. The most appearances in Serie A for any foreign player, and holds the 4th most appearances in the entire league, only behind Maldini, Buffon, and Totti, who should all have been in discussion for this podcast. Actually, at some point, Maldini didn't even get in the discussion for left back, but never mind. It's our team. Won 5 Scudettos, 4 Coppa Italias, 4 Super Cups, and 1 UEFA Cup, 1 Champions League, and 1 FIFA World Club Cup. I think the problem with the Argentinian players of this sort of generation, like the great ones, even to now with Messi, none of them have won a World Cup, and it's really unfortunate. But I think he was part of that World Cup team who scored that amazing, was it 49 pass goal or whatever it was? I can't even remember. He was part of that one anyway. The Cambiasso smashed in. So that's a nice memory. But yeah, Javier Zanetti, almost. Are we calling him a one club man? I feel like. I mean, he had 3 years in Argentina, but I feel like the fact that he's now the vice president at Inter Milan, and he's probably going to be around there for a long time yet. And he's just a classy player, and yeah, I think he's fantastic. And he is I'm putting him in at right back. Of course, he played CDM and left back as well, but I'm putting him in right back, so I think that's where he belongs. So yeah, there we go. Javier Zanetti, is in the mix of 11 right back choice. Okay, so go back to Michael then. Full circle, back to Michael. Hit us, man. What you got?
I also found this quite difficult, and I'm not going to create a unanimous decision unless I can vote for Lahm again. But I think mine's probably going to be another player that's got a mention. That's going to be Dani Alves. So I think he's very much more my generation as a fullback, as a great fullback. I think he's a good guy in that he says he's going to go back to Sevilla one day after he left. I'm not sure if he's actually going to. He's 34 now. Must be on his last leg of his European tour. What's he got? Has he done Italy, Spain, and
he's done it all,
France now? He's just a few missing. So we'll see if he goes back to Sevilla at the tender age of 34.
I'm sure if they give him a payday, he'll go back. When he can't run.
He's got that little bit of a bad lad mentality about him. I kind of feel, which I kind of like. But he's also a very good guy. Like when he took out Abidal's 22 shirt, he actually offered part of his liver and stuff as like a token of his gratitude for sort of getting the shirt number, because it's kind of how much it meant to him. And I feel like he's a bit of an endless player. No matter how many years he's playing, he still seems to come up with the famous Dani Alves overlap and famous who's that coming into the box? It's Dani Alves from right back. How's he ended up there? Kind of thing. And then sort of blasting it wherever it may go. He's, like I said, he's very much a player of my generation in that I feel that I've watched him more than probably any other player, because the amount of clubs he's played at and the amount of good goals he's scored, etc., etc. So for that reason, he gets in my team for being such a decent professional and a prolific right back.
Yeah, nice. It's funny you said there about him coming out of nowhere into the box, because he very much comes out of nowhere and ends up in FIFA World Team of the Year every single year.
Yeah, that's true.
But so it's fair. It's fair. He's been the best right back for some time.
To keep up appearances, he's in ours.
Yeah. Go on, Ellis. You got a second?
I can come up with one because I just thought of one.
Okay, nice.
I generally didn't have one, but I'll just throw him in there because he feels like he's one of the good guys of football and also a massive part of my football upbringing. So I'm gonna throw Paulo Ferreira in there actually, which is it was one of the biggest signings of 2004, I think. Signing to Chelsea from Porto for 20 million euros, and he won several major titles, of course, including the three Premier League titles between 2004 and of course he won the Champions League because he was still at Chelsea but didn't really
Porto,
play. Yeah, and with Porto as well. Yeah, with Mourinho. Yeah, I just think he feels like such a great guy. Like he didn't really make that much of a difference attacking wise for that Chelsea team, but he was such a reliable player when he was actually playing, and just like I've never really thought of him as like an amazing right back, but with the years I just feel like he was actually better than I thought, and I don't know, it's just like a sudden realization that he was actually a really good right back. So that's why I'm throwing him in there.
Nice. I think he's quite underrated, Paulo Ferreira, I think. He was definitely one of the Mourinho mercenaries that came from Porto. And one of the players I think Mourinho will list as one of his players. Certainly wasn't replaced well by Jose Single anyway. For the long term anyway. Maybe that's unfair. I don't know.
For so many years I thought his name was Boss Winger. I'm not even kidding.
The Boss Winger. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow, it's so appropriate.
Okay, so I've got one more. Okay, I'm gonna make this quick because we're running short on time. I'm gonna go with Cafu as my right back. Captain Cafu, I think it's fair to say. Obviously he played with Milan most famously and Brazil, won in the World Cup, and played in 5 World Cups, hasn't he? Which is incredible. Played a lot of Roma. I didn't actually realise he played like 6 years at Roma, which is crazy. But Cafu very much the captain of football. Like, it's just I don't know what he just screams a captain. Like he's like, I don't really remember Cafu as an exciting player particularly. Maybe that's because when Brazil won the World Cup, sort of everything was on Rivaldo, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, and I wasn't really old enough to appreciate a right back at that age. But certainly a player that has always been around success at club and international level, and I feel like he deserves a mention. So, goodness me, that's all of our picks. How are we going to do this? We're going to do this to two 4 votes, and then a final vote of 4, a poll of 4, like we did.
Can do that. But before we do that, I want you to what's it called? Pronounce Cafu's birthplace, or the city he was born in.
Sao Paulo.
Can you do that for us?
What's Sao Paulo?
No, he's not. Born. Place of birth.
Oh, luckily I have the Wikipedia up here. Itaquaquisatuba. That's it. I'm going with that.
Okay.
Soundbite. Put that on the soundboard. The In the Mixer soundboard coming soon. So there we go. Excellent stuff. Right. I think that sees the end of the In the Mixer 11 then. So far we have in goal, we have Iker Casillas. At the back we have Vidic and who's the other one? Nesta. And at left back we have Roberto Carlos by unanimous decision, the first ever. This will be going to the poll. Check out the In the Mixer Twitter at In the Mixer Show on there, and you'll find the polls of the 2 semi-finals going up sometime between now and probably the weekend. And then we'll have the poll for the final right back probably over Christmas, probably around that sort of time period, as we won't be recording between now and Christmas, so plenty of time for that. So I think we'll end the show then on Heroes of the Week and MVP and Villains of the Week. No, we won't. Sorry. Heroes. We could be heroes. We need to edit that in there. Well, I need to edit that in there because that's my responsibility. So heroes, we're going to heroes now. I think that's that's very much with the. I don't know if they have like miniature heroes in Sweden, Elias, but that's one of the chocolate selection boxes we get over here. So miniature heroes of the week.
And if you get awarded the heroes, you'll celebrations.
I think everyone wants the celebration more than heroes.
Oh yeah,
celebration.
Oh my god, roses.
Nah. In the words of Outcast, roses really smell like poo-poo, in my opinion. Right, so should we get on with this and wrap this episode up? Because the viewers are getting hungry for the MVPs. I keep saying viewers, listeners. Sorry, guys. Who wants to go first then with their MVP?
Me.
You. Okay. Ellis is in there.
You.
You. Thank you. I'm going to give it to David Moyes. It's going to be easy to do that. So, because he clearly can manage every team in the world by this point, so except Scotland
and Boca Juniors.
Wimbledon.
AFC Wimbledon. Yeah, except those 3 teams. But other than that, he can pretty much pick right now. So we'll expect him to be the Real Madrid manager next week.
No, he doesn't want that job, I think. I don't think he wants that job. I think he prefers the West Ham job. That's the only reason he's not getting it, is because he's refused the offer.
He'll forever blow bubbles.
He will forever blow bubbles out of his bubble
I'm going to flip it round. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to flip it round. And I'm going to say that I'm going to pick my man that can manage any team in the world. And doesn't he know it? It's Sam Allardyce.
Oh my goodness. No! Oh god! This is going to be the old British managers getting all the heroes of the week. Oh god!
I know that Phil is going to pick Roy Hodgson as his MVP of the week. So to complete the old English managers, giving the fogies a mention and silencing all the critics, I'm picking Sam Allardyce because look at Everton's form. 4 wins and 1 draw. 5 wins and 1 draw for Sam Allardyce.
He'll tell you.
And you know what? He fully deserves my MVP of the week. Phil, who's yours?
God, it's a perfect time of year for Big Sam as well. The amount of gravy at Christmas is crazy. Roy Hodgson is mine. I think
Hey!
Michael ruined the surprise, and it is a surprise. The reluctance from Elias the other week to not give it to the whole Crystal Palace team before he gave it to Roy Hodgson. So I'm going to give it to old Roy the boy. He's been brilliant since he's gone to Palace, and how Ellis has given it to David Moyes before Roy Hodgson, I do not know. But both of those, all three of them sit outside the relegation zone when there was a time where we thought they may all go down. But hey, there we go. Yeah, Roy Hodgson is my MVP. So young British managers, you need to step up your game. You need to step up your game. And Paul Ince, don't write in. Villains then. Villains. I'm gonna go with an old British manager. Mark Hughes. I'm pretty sure I went with him last week. Maybe, I don't know. But God, he's annoying. And I hope he gets sacked. I hope he has a terrible Christmas and an awful New Year.
Yeah.
There you go. That's all I've got to say.
Sticking up for the fogies, I'm going to go for a young English manager.
Nice.
Eddie Howe.
Why is this manager watch now?
because I just feel like it's time to stop messing about. I wasn't going to give Zaha my player of the week, my hero of the week. It was just time to hard hit. And it's Eddie Howe as my villain of the week. Bournemouth seriously have got a tough few games coming up in that they really need to pull out some results, otherwise they're in trouble. They are just very much lucky that below them are Swansea, West Brom, Newcastle, Stoke. But it might not be that for long.
No, especially when Stoke sack Hughes.
Exactly.
And they get in Alan Kirbishley.
Sam Allardyce. Sam Allardyce's cousin.
Steve McLaren.
Steve McLaren.
Oh my lord.
Harry Redknapp. Oh my!
God.
I've just realised Harry Redknapp is available.
Oh god. I bet he likes out of Stoke and all.
Oh, of course he does.
Go on then. Go on
He's
then,
like-
Elias. Please. Not an old
Can
British manager or a young British or any
No,
British manager.
Can I? Can I use a British manager just to complete it?
Sure.
Do it.
Okay, I'm gonna give it to Chris Hute. Because he keeps putting Glenn Murray on penalties, which is clearly a 50-50 situation. I like they must have a better penalty shooter in that team, because it's getting ridiculous, to be honest. Like, he can score one, but he looks so it's a really harsh one, I feel, but I wanted to complete the six
round.
manager, yeah. Six manager mentions.
Should have gone with
So,
Sean
Chris
Dyche for
Hughton-
dropping points.
No. No, I feel like Chris Hughton needs to reevaluate who's taking the penalties.
His life choices. Oh,
Yeah.
no, I think Glenn Murray's just missing penalties. He's just getting getting warmed up for the World Cup for England. I think he just wants to fit in. Just wants to fit in. Wow. Well,
He's
what a titillating episode. Yep, I'll leave that there.
Glenn Murray was Scottish.
Glenn Murray's not Scottish.
I thought he was Scottish.
He's not.
He's
would be in the
Finnish!
team. He was
It's Finnish, is it?
He's only 28. Right, so I think we'll end that there. Thank you very much for listening. Get in touch via the Twitter at InTheMixerShow. That would be great. Or email us, of course, inthemixerpodcast@gmail.com if you want to send us any messages, questions, or anything like that. Yeah, I think that's everything. I'll say goodbye, and I'll let these two say goodbye and wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
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 You should do Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly, but with your like the fa la 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 la, but with your byes. Bye 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 bye.
Wow.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute then. But Elias, give us your second one, and we'll decide after that what we're gonna do about this. Go on.
Can we pause there, because I haven't got a second one I said this.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Just say Sir Kolasinac, it's fine. Then everything's solved.
Me and Michael are in love.
Oh, I just keep closing my tab and
Okay.
seeing me topless on Discord. Look,
Don't act like you don't like it, you weirdo.
I
Right.
don't. I don't. How long are we in?
Or only half an hour.
We're fucking whipping our cocks out, aren't we?
If that's how you get a pretty good podcast, then mate, you whip it out all the time. I don't care.
Mate, I'm
Just keep it
shirtless,
out.
so I've only got two items of clothing to take off.
We can get Ronaldo and Asensio if we sell
You're
That's
not getting
definitely
Asensio.
Yeah, we are.
Don't be mad.
We are getting Asensio.
Oh fuck, we didn't talk about Celtic.
Oh, they lost. didn't they?
Smashed
Brendan
4-0.
Rodgers out. Brendan
You
Rodgers
can do
out.
that. You can play wherever he played.
Plays wherever he wants,
What's
mate.
the fucking, I'm putting Di Natale at left back then.
What?
If that's your logic.
Totti is not getting in his team.
Fucking yes,
There
he
are
is.
too many
Totti and
good
Del
players.
Piero out from me. I don't know.
Del Piero is getting in there though.
Not if
I think
Totti's
it's a
not.
Del
Neither are
Piero.
getting in. What? They're both getting in, or neither are getting in.
That is
Luis
not the deal.
Suarez.
Hello, we're back. Part 3 is back. What? What?
What did he do? You killed the microphone when he said that. He's like, what is that?
Okay, we go again. Right, we're going again.